Shalom HaAtzmaut, everybody. We decided to move out here for two reasons. One is we set up in there because our hope was that we would arrive here earlier and we would have more time and be able to watch a video. We'll probably watch it during lunch when we come back here, but that's the first reason. The second reason is I think that so much of the reason that we want to be here is because we want to experience what's happening around us and not to be inside a closed room. So it might be a little warmer over here. The acoustics are probably not as good, which means we'll all really have to try to be as quiet as possible. But we are honored this morning, as I told the OU mission that's here with me on the bus, to be here for a very, very special day. And the fact that Rabbi Lerner and your mission are joining us is an honor. Thank you very much for joining us. And I hope you're having as an impactful time as we are here in Israel. A day without words. A day where every single person that is living in the state of Israel, and probably every Jew around the world, is going through emotions that we can't explain. We're thinking of so many different names, so many different faces, so many different loved ones that their lives stopped. Unlike a yahrzeit, where you come and say, what's a yahrzeit? It's a day that we say Kaddish for a grandfather, for a father, a loved one. It's very focused on one individual. Today we're very focused on the klal. We're focused on 25,039 Jews that gave their lives for the Jewish people. I'm Avi Berman. I'm the executive director of the OU here in Israel, for those of you that... But Avi Berman goes up to the mountain today, like I do every Yom HaZikaron. And I'm just one of 15 million Jews that are experiencing Yom HaZikaron in their way. In order to bring Yom HaZikaron to where it should be, we're very honored to have here with us today Rabbi Moshe Tal. Rabbi Moshe Tal is going to tell us his personal story of what Yom HaZikaron means for him his entire life. Moshe Tal is the Rebbe of a 12th grade in Himmelfarb High School here in Yerushalayim, Yeshiva High School. But it doesn't mean we have to act like 12th graders, so let's make sure to be quiet and allow him to share his story. I did promise him we'll start at 9:30 and he'll be finished at 10:10 because he still has to get back to his class to be with them for 11 o'clock in Tzvi. So I'm going to shut that door. This will hear less of the sirens, but we're going to be filming the talk from Moshe Tal, so please let's try to be quiet. We will leave time at the end for questions. Beseder? Okay? So Moshe.
Toda, thank you. First, thank you for inviting me this morning to talk about my personal story, my family story. As Avi said before, more than 25,000 soldiers, men and women, were killed since the state of Israel established. And I always say it's a number that you can't understand. You can't. It's impossible to understand the size and the quantity of this number. So, and each soldier, each man who fell in the battle is a whole world. It's a story of a family. It's a story of a person that his life ended more sooner than it should be. And I think that we maybe try to to connect to this day throughout a story of one, maybe two soldiers who fell in the battle. So I will tell you this morning about two young men, both called Moshe, both lived here in Jerusalem, and later on I'll try to connect the story and see how it's related to me. The first Moshe was born here in Jerusalem in October 1953. He studied, he was born and raised not far from here on Beit Vagan neighborhood. He studied at Neve Etzion Elementary School, and later on in Bnei Akiva High School Yeshiva in Kfar HaRoeh, where his eldest brother was studying, and his father before him was studying in this yeshiva. Moshe was participant in and instructor in Bnei Akiva movement in the Moriah tribe, and here in Jerusalem, first in Beit Vagan branch, and later on at the central branch of Bnei Akiva. After studying 2 years in the yeshiva in Kfar HaRoeh, he set out to establish a new yeshiva in Mevaseret Yerushalayim, a new yeshiva for children that didn't manage with the ordinary yeshiva, and he felt it's his place, it's his time to do something for others and establish a new yeshiva for this kind of students. According to his rabbi, he was one of the pillars of the group which volunteer for the work of establishment and asked to serve as an example and a role model for the young students. Since he was young, he felt that he has a role in this world, and he wanted to do something for others. When he finished his studies at the yeshiva, Moshe was debating whether to work guiding youth in the development town or continue in studies, in Torah studies in high yeshiva. Finally, he decided to combine his military service with the studying Torah in the HaAtzmaut yeshiva, in high yeshiva, and he began to studying there at HaAtzmaut yeshiva in Alon Shvut in Gush Etzion. 40 days before Yom Kippur War, Moshe married Yafa, who has been his girlfriend since the day of the youth movement. They had time to be married only 40 days before Moshe went to the war, which he never returned from. When the Yom Kippur War broke out, Moshe was called from his yeshiva to his unit and fought with in a very hard battles through the Yom Kippur War. Moshe was fighting 19 days from the first day of Yom Kippur War to the end of the Yom Kippur. He went from, he was at the Egyptian front, and he fought a very difficult, very hard battles in there, in Sinai. He also participated in crossing the Suez Canal and the battle on the western side of this canal. He often talked to his friends in specifically in difficult moments. He even played, he was saying psukim at the communication network, the inner communication network. He was trying to encourage his friend. He always was the first man to get up in the morning to fix the tanks, and he was really a leader of this group. This is according to his commander. He fulfilled his duties with division, loyalty, and detection. On the 25th on October, a day after the ceasefire came into effect, his tank was hit by a fire from an Egyptian tank that ambushed his row of tanks, and Moshe was killed north of the city of Suez. This is the first Moshe. This is a first story of a young man who lived only 20 years. He was living like he was in a feeling that there is no time. He have to do the most efficient and most effective things that he can do in order to fulfill his destiny. He was married 40 days, and his wife Yafa got pregnant during this 40 days, and I am his son. I was born 8 months after he died. Usually, I used to say that I didn't know my father, but luckily, my father has written letters to my mother, and he has much friends that talking about him and tell his stories. So today I say I didn't meet him, but I feel like I knew him a little bit. This is the first one, the first Moshe. The other Moshe, called Moshe Kleinwald, was born in 1955 here in Jerusalem. His parents came to Israel immediately after the Holocaust from Czechoslovakia. They survived the Holocaust. His mother survived Auschwitz concentration camp, and his father was escaping throughout the Shoah all around Europe, and they came here and met here in Israel, and Moshe was born. Moshe studied in elementary school called Dugma, named after Rabbi Uziel. After completing his elementary studies, he moved to the high school Himmelfarb here in Beit Vagan. It's the same school that I'm teaching today. From the age of 10, Moshe was a participant in the Bnei Akiva youth movement here in Jerusalem, and took part of the movement summer camp and seminars. When he was only 15 years old, he was already serving as an instructor in the movement. And after the liberation of East Jerusalem, he and others established the Bnei Akiva branch in Ramot Eshkol. It was a new branch of Bnei Akiva, and they established it from the beginning, and until the time of his joining the army, he was coordinating and operating the branch, and he did so as he always has with detection and care. Moshe joined the army in July 1973, and even before he finished his training, the Yom Kippur War broke out, and he was sent to the Egyptian front and saw the horrors of the war. He also fought the whole war from the beginning to the end, and he ended the war okay. On the day when he was set to finish his parachuting course, a few months after the war ended, and receiving his parachuter wings, a disaster happened, and he fell while parachuting on duty on the 15th of Tammuz, 1974. He's buried here in Mount Herzl, here in Jerusalem. The point of contact between these two stories is my mother, Yafa. As I said before, the first Moshe was my father, the second Moshe was my uncle, my mother's brother. And I think if you want to take a story from me, or a story to this day, I think the real hero is my mother. In my eyes, my mother is the true hero. In the same year, she lost her husband. I was born, and she lost her brother. And still, she chose to continue living, holding on life, raised from the great sorrow, and raise me as normal as much as possible. When I thinking about a day like this, and for me, every day is a memorial day, but a day like Yom HaZikaron is an opportunity for me telling my personal story to others, and to share my feeling and my thoughts with others, and it's an opportunity for all of our people, all of our nation, to come together and to be unite with the sorrow of the families, but with actually the story of our people. If I'm thinking of my grandma and grandfather surviving the Holocaust, coming here to Israel, establishing the state, and paying a price that I cannot understand how a man can continue living after this, but they continue. They choose life. They choose on building a family. My mother get married again when I was 1 year old, and I have another father and four brother and sister, two brother and two sisters. As for myself, when I finished high school, I joined the army. I served 25 years at the Air Force. I got retired 7 years ago as a lieutenant colonel in the Israeli Air Force. I still do miluim, especially these days. I got married. My first son now is a pilot in the Israeli Air Force. My daughter joined the army a few months ago, and she also in the Air Force. And I think this is my message. This is my the thing I want to tell you all. It's we are paying a difficult or high prices for living here, for being Jews in the state of Israel, but we don't have other choice. We don't have the privilege to get down and to be in sorrow and stop walking. We have to continue. We have to build this country, this nation, this wonderful thing that called the State of Israel. And I'm taking the example from my mother, from my grandfather and grandmother, from both sides, to hold on life, to continue to build, to be sad in sad moments, and to be happy in others. I'm about to be 50 in a few years, and my personal story is I live it for a very long time, as you understand, but it's still something emotional for me, and yet it's important to me to talk about our story, to talk about my father Moshe Tal and my uncle Moshe Kleinwald. Really, two young men that served the country, gave their life for us to be here in the State of Israel, in independent State of Israel, to have a strong army, a strong society, a strong people that can come out and continue their way, our way, and to keep on, as you see around, in one side we have Mount Herzl and the military cemetery, but when you look around, you see the city of Jerusalem growing, living, and I think that this is the combination between these 2 points, or these 2 stories. This is the story of the Jewish people, of the Israeli country. We unfortunately have to pay this price, but this is what nigzar alenu. This is what this is what God maybe wants from us, and the living, our living here in Israel is the combination between these sad moments and the happy moments. Many times I've been asked about the connection between Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut. How can they be together? How can I move from the sorrow of Yom HaZikaron to the happy of Yom HaAtzmaut? And I always say it's have to be like this. This is our story. This is we have to remember the price and what we paid for being here in the State of Israel, and we have to keep on walking. We have to keep on living, keep on smiling to the future. This is me in short. If you want to ask more questions. This is the questions, and until now we don't have the answer. They were talking on the phone a day before he was killed. She told him at this phone that she suspects she may be feeling something, and she said he told her it's nothing, it's stress from the war. And but if he knew for sure, probably not. But what I'm telling you now, it's from the last year conversation. I was walking with this question 49 years.
Why didn't your mother open up earlier?
It was too difficult for her, too emotional. Yes.
Were there other family members that could tell you about your fellow, even though your mother wasn't able to?
He has an elder brother who was talking about him a little bit. The other brothers and one sister are smaller than him. They barely remember. I have members of the family. Yes, I as I said before, I feel that I knew him now. I didn't meet him, but I knew him from this story, from his letters, from things he wrote. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and your family's story with us. And we are all here davening that the story continues for a long, long time with your children and their children. And until all of us find our way to be here with you permanently.
Thank you.
You're a teacher. It's a day of memory and history, but is there something you can teach us about the history of the day that, sort of is meaningful to you, that, will share with us, the experience from your perspective, what you go through, and when you teach your students, you're going to go soon and teach your students. What do you tell them about today that helps them to understand that this is their moment? I'll just give you an example so you have a little more time, because it's a hard question maybe. Yesterday we visited the Nova Festival, and there were lots of different groups, different army groups, but also schools. And we were trying to figure out, we're trying to listen. What do you teach a group? Not just about the history, but about the history of this year and the experiences of this year.
I have an answer. I hope it will be accurate to your question. As I said, my parents was married 40 days. They only 40 days, and my mother got pregnant, and I was born. My father was killed a day after the ceasefire came in. He may be the last soldier who killed in this war. What I'm taking from this is that things are not happening with no reason. There is reason for everything. We not always we know the reason, but I think that our job or our role in this world is to find the reason, is to find why. What is my role in this world? What is my destiny in this world? And this is my message for my students. Things are not happening with no reason. There is reason from everything. Someone can take it to take it to the place that what God wants from me. Some others will take it to the place what I'm doing here in the world. What is my my message, my way of living is that I have to find my destiny. If I came to this world, it must be a reason for this. If all this happened, this must be a reason. So I want to find the reason. I want to do something good for the people, for the world. This is why I, after 25 years serving the army, I went to chinuch, to education, to be a teacher. I want to continue this. I think it's my destiny, my role. I hope it's an answer.
Many of us here from America, we struggle with how to commemorate Yom HaZikaron. Yom HaAtzmaut we're excellent at. We barbecue and we don't say tafna, that's great. But Yom HaZikaron is a challenge for us. What can you tell us about how we could better prepare ourselves for Yom HaZikaron in the Galut?
As I said, I think maybe to take a story, one story, get to know two of this soldier who gave their life. Everyone is a complete story. A story of a man, a story of a family, a story of something was to find something meaningful in this story, and to connect to a family, to connect to a neighborhood, to connect to something that at the end makes all of us together in this day. Even it's not your personal on your personal circle or something, but to take a story and go deep and connect to this. This is my recommendation for people that want to be to feel something meaningful in this day.
For most of the people here, it's going to be the first time going to the HaAtzmaut and Yom HaZikaron. What helped you when others that are not part of your immediate family, you're staring at your father's kever? What comforted you that you would recommend that we, as a collective, when going up to HaAtzmaut, do in order to comfort others?
It's a good question. First, it will be very crowded, so be prepared to for the crowd. I think that the Memorial Day is less for the families and more for the people. This is my point of view. When I stand next to my father's grave, and people are coming and asking for, tell me about him, tell me something. Who is this man lying here? This is giving me an opportunity to tell the story. One of the things that I think is important for the family is to tell the story, is to remind and remember the men who fall in the fight. So after you going through the crowd and you getting to a grave, and you see a member of family standing next to the grave, ask him a question. Tell me something about him, or this is what giving me a meaningful for this standing there.
In the story that you told, you talked about commanders and other people that said things about your father, and you said how your mother was the hero. What did your mother tell you when you were growing up about your father?
Almost nothing. We are Ashkenazim, we're not talking, we're not crying. last year it was the 50th anniversary for the Yom Kippur War, and we did a family movie. We set all a few members of family, my uncles, my grandmother, my mother, even me, my son. We set them together and interview one each other. It was amazing. I saw it again last night. For some people, it was the first time really talking about my father, about. So throughout the years, it was very difficult, especially for the inner circle of the family to talk about him. But we tried. We asking questions every year. My mother and my father wrote each other letters, and my mother keeps the letters. She doesn't let me see them yet, but every year she gives me one or two letters so I can see. He was very idealist. He was thinking about education. He's thinking about Am Israel. He was talking about helping others, religion and non-religion, and how we connect them together. There is a lot of stories, mainly from his friends and commanders, and me and my mother actually sat together to talk about him last year for the first time. She said she loved him very much. She misses him very much.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Biggest military cemetery in Husband. When the soldier is killed, he has a choice. The family has a choice of being buried in the military cemetery next to the house, or in a hearse. So you have people that the family lives in Akhl. You have one of our sub-members, the kid that went to Art Club in Akhl. So the kids grew up in Akhl, Art Club, went to the army, and was killed in the family system, and he was carrying out Mount Churchill. If any system, I like them because it is the most the upper status. The parents wanted to discuss home. Want to be able to go every Friday to visit the kid, or every Rosh Chodesh to visit their son, and therefore they'll choose for their kid to eat.
What we saw in the last 7 months is Har Herzl going and filling up. Our photographer here, Leo Yanai, and I were neighbors in Givat Ze'ev. Our very dear friend lost his son, who was the commander of the entire Nachal Brigade. This week we had Achnasat Sefer Torah in his memory, and Eliyahu, of course, was the photographer there, and we were all standing there and bawling, seeing a Torah being brought in, the name of somebody that was so dear to us, that used to daven Musa for us, used to have a beautiful voice, incredible neshama. And last year his parents, Danny and Judy, were just like everybody else, trying to connect to Yom HaZikaron, seeing their son go to all his soldiers that fell and giving hugs to those families. And now we're going to go up to the mountain. We're going to see Danny and Judy standing there with their other 4 kids, talking about Yoni. And that's just another one of the 25,039. I pray to God that He should give us the siyata d'shmaya that we need to be able to go up to Har Herzl now, to give the comfort to the families. Like you heard from Moshe. He's been going to Har Herzl for the last 50 years, trying to learn about his father that he never met,
trying to learn about his uncle that he never met. And even though he didn't know them, he wants to give over that story. So we'll walk around the mountain. And our job is to be there to bring nechama. I can't tell you it's a halacha of nichum avelim, because the Torah tells us about Shiva, Shloshim in a year. But I'm pretty sure that there's a mitzvah of nichum avelim also today for every single family. So let's Be'ezat Hashem give that nechama. Connect to Klal Yisrael. You guys are messengers. You're going to be going back to America if Chas v'Shalom Mashiach is not here before your flight is scheduled. And your job is to bring back a message of what Klal Yisrael is about. Unlike our enemies, we do not cheer when people die as martyrs. We're sad. Our goal is to live. Our goal is to bring up next generations. So Be'ezat Hashem, let's give that virtual and physical hug to the families that are going through probably the toughest hour of the year. B'atzlacha to all of us. And may Hashem put the right words in our mouths. Thank you. We're going to be back here at 12:15.